Has President Trump successfully destroyed the U.S. housing market? The threat of tariffs coming out last Wednesday afternoon. Stock market's tanking 20% in 2.5 days. Has he destroyed the wealth effect? Has he crushed consumer confidence? Is the housing market doomed? We're going to be talking with Beth Traverso. How you doing, Beth?
Hey, I'm doing great, Mike. Thanks for having me back. So that's the big question. I've been getting phone calls and that's a chatter out there amongst agents and buyers and sellers alike. I have had some clients come to me wondering, should we accelerate our plans to sell? Should we wait? What should we do? Buyers are wondering, should they buy? Should they not buy? Looking at those that are relying on their stock portfolio for their down payment. That's the biggest challenge right there, regardless of where anyone lands on the political spectrum. Nobody likes to see that. And, myself, I'm one of them too. I'm one of those people that was hit, but I also know that you realize a loss when you sell, not when it goes down, but it's when you sell that you lock it in. Some people, if they were looking at doing that sooner than later, that is going to make a difference. Now, of course, this is all changing minute by minute. It seems like today, apparently, stocks are coming back up again some. Rates being the big wild card. What's going on with that? Are they going down? Oh, wait, they're going up. And there's just a lot of confusion out there. And nobody can pretend to have all the answers. I don't. But there's a few things to think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this. Because again, I think there are some markets like Seattle, where you are residing, King County, the Silicon Valley, probably Austin, a couple of tech heavy areas, where you were seeing demand buyers from stock-rich RSU option employees, right? They worked at Amazon or, Meta or Tesla or wherever. And over the last 3 trading days, they've seen somewhere between 30 and 50% drop in their wealth, at least on paper. That has to impact buyers. Right? That has to just mentally impact a buyer. It's like, hey, I was going to sell X amount of shares, net X amount of money, and that was my down payment. Now they're like, whoops. Mm-hmm. Either A, I increase my shares because maybe they have more, or B, I fundamentally can't buy because I don't have the down payment anymore. So it's not shocking to me that your market, Silicon Valley, others would see buyers pull back. Probably in a big way. I mean, they've seen, let's say 40% haircut. That's got to be impactful, right?
Absolutely. And it remains to be seen how much, it takes a little while for numbers to roll out. But I have seen and had some conversations with some buyers who are thinking they still want to buy, but maybe they want to pay less. And so that may end up being what happens. It's like, well, instead of paying this price, maybe we offer this price. Or this house, maybe we don't want to get into a bidding war on that house. Like that's the first thing that pulls back is the bidding wars.
Yep.
So an interesting thing, our MLS, the Northwest MLS has about a year ago started tracking pending unpublished data. So they tell us what happened today versus what happened over whatever period of time you specify. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of interesting that as of today's data, they still are saying 37% of the pending sales had multiple offers, which I thought was interesting. That's still,
higher than I would have expected.
Yeah. And list price to sale price ratio, 102%. So it's still holding pretty strong. Our latest inventory numbers are about 1.5 months of inventory.
Oh,
but
so
it's
that's
up,
going up.
But it's up 50% over last year. So we've got all these different things tug of warring here.
Yeah. Again, I think King County is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm so thankful that you come back each and every week because I think what you're seeing in the data today is people who made moves before the stock fell. Because again, the stock fell Thursday, Friday, Monday. Today's Tuesday when we record.
If they liquidated their funds previously, sure.
Exactly. They're still in, right? I would guess most folks, and again, I worked with these people when I was in tech, they're going to liquidate their funds and have cash ready when they start writing offers, right? They're not going to try to time the market for those last couple of days. I'll be interested to see what happens, not next week, but the week after. I'm just going to put it out there that List price to sale price is not 102. It's probably sub 100. And also, I'll say that I think inventory is up because I think we're going to have this little window where people just dramatically pull back and go, oh my God, everything's falling to the, it's going to be cut in half. La, 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 classic fear mentality. So it'll be interesting to check those numbers in 2 weeks.
It will be. And that's what I actually just had a conversation about that with somebody last night, a client, where it's like, let's see where we are in a couple of weeks. We'll have a lot better gauge of things. There's a lot of factors, another one being that we already were starting to see a little bit of our peak had already crested and was leveling out before this even happened. I already was starting to see some pullback from the bidding wars, a little more inventory coming on, a more balanced market, which I actually like quite a bit, where, a seller could expect to get a decent offer in a shortish amount of time, and a buyer would have a pretty good shot at getting a house without having to go crazy. And that to me is a perfect market. This past few days does have it brings up some memories of some other recent times in the last 5 years or so where we've had this similar sentiment out there. The most recent being in summer of 2022, when the rates all of a sudden spiked in the middle. It went from 3 to, I don't know where they ended, but in a very short period of time, it shot up over 5.
Yep.
Which just I think we talked about it at the time of it was like hitting a brick wall at 50 miles an hour. It just went boom and everything blew up.
Yep.
And a lot of sellers were very stressed because they had already put their plans in motion and they needed to sell, but the buyers weren't buying, and everyone thought that they were waiting for the prices to drop. And they did for a little while, but then, as we all know, the inventory dried up and then prices resumed their gains.
Yeah.
So that's been interesting. And then the time before that was COVID, of course, where that shutdown happened and everybody was like, oh no, the bottom's going to fall out of the entire economy.
Yep.
And we all know what happened there, where it just took off. And I'm not saying that this is like those times. Everything is always different. There's always some different thing, different reason why. And time will tell about this. I do know that there's always going to be people that need to buy or sell regardless. There's a lot of people out there that I talk to every day who they're moving one way or the other. Like they've already taken the job at the other place or built their retirement home somewhere else, and they're moving. And people are going to come here regardless. It's just a matter of, are prices going to decline some? They very well could. We'll see. Yeah. I mean, we haven't seen it yet, but it could happen.
That's the big question, because I think what we've seen with the stock market in stock wealth areas like Seattle, Silicon Valley, I think demand falling off is easy to predict. Mm-hmm. What you're bringing up now is, what do sellers do? And that is the question, right? Do some sellers sit back and go, hey, I'll wait another year? But to your point, a lot of people get to the point where they're done. They're like, my plan, my plan A is to go be by my grandchildren, or now I'm going to go to my vacation home. I'm done.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how much supply goes up, because you're absolutely right. If demand stays anemic, it would not be impossible to see prices come down, just because at some point these sellers, they've been in the house forever, have so much equity. Does it really matter if they lose $50K just to get on with life?
Yeah. And the scenario I see a lot is, if they've spent a lot of money already on the home that they're moving to, then that's where the crunch happens.
Yeah. They don't want to carry both.
Yeah. But you're right. So, I mean, for a lot of these folks, the sellers, the train has already left the station. It's happening.
Yes,
they're selling their house. They have a lot of equity in their home. I'm not seeing any foreclosure crisis upcoming or anything like that. If anyone's wondering about that, not around here, because there's so much equity in people's homes.
Yep.
So much. So, and a lot of people don't owe anything on their houses at all. So they have, it's 100%, it's just, they have a lot to work with.
Yep.
And they're using that for their retirement or their next home, or et cetera. That's what I see a lot. And so I am personally seeing a lot of as primarily a listing agent, I am working with more sellers now than I have since 2022. Like, we're at full capacity, working as fast as possible. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One of what you were just talking about, like people's plans are moving forward. I'm still not seeing the move up, buy, sell very much. That's a rare thing that almost doesn't exist still.
Correct.
That still exists. If that still gets unlocked at some point, that will be a game changer. But the past 3 years, we haven't seen that, and I'm still not seeing it.
Broken housing market. It's just broken.
Still the housing market's still broken, and but I'm busier than ever. And part of that might be that I've seen since the market got really tough, there's been some agents who have phased out, moved away. They never make an announcement that they're leaving, or every once in a while they will, like, I'm moving to Palm Springs or whatever the case may be. But most of the time it's just, I haven't seen that person around for a while. And then you realize, oh, wait, like they don't
live
have
here
a license anymore. They let their license, they turned it in or didn't renew. So, or they just decided just to pull back, because it's been tough out there for agents the past few years. And I think and for mortgage industry people as well. So I think, but those that have gone in and doubled down, like I'm going in here to take market share, are taking market share.
I love this so much because I've been very clear the last year at every speaking engagement, whether it was Ryan Pineda's event or Deal Champs just in the last 2 weeks, that 2025 is going to be the last hard year for real estate agents and mortgage brokers. It's going to be amazing next year, not because transactions are going to suddenly double. That's not what I'm saying. You're just going to have dramatically less competition. So a 10 or 15% bump in transactions is going to feel like a 50% bump, because you're not dealing with these little one-off people who peel off 1 or 2 deals a year. They're gone. They're baristas at Starbucks. And you know, the folks that double down and get through 25, you're going to eat like a Las Vegas buffet. You're going to get crab legs and oysters and, filet mignon.
I'm looking forward to that.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's been hard out there. I'm not going to lie. And I'm glad you clarified that, because I was wondering, I was going to ask you, why is it that you think it's going to be better in 2026? But what I'm hearing you say is just less competition from the
transactions go up a little bit, but all that peel off of 1 or 2, they're gone.
Yeah, because there was a statistic that went afire on social media about, I think it was like 70% of agents sold 1 or less last year. Yep. That's a lot. We're talking thousands and thousands of agents, and a lot of them are just bowing out.
They have to.
And it's got it for the listing agents that are taking more market share. I know in my area, we're expected to do more and charge less, and our cost is higher. So for me, my overhead is higher I have more invested in each. We're expected to do a lot in this area, as far as the level of marketing and the prep and the concierge service and the vendors and all of that, project management and all of that. But that's all right. I welcome it, and that's what we're built for. And those that are doing really well, but we have to provide all of that. And for the most part, we're doing it for less too. I mean, I can't speak for everybody. Everyone has their own business plan. It works for them, but that's what I'm doing. So profit margin squeezed, but more volume.
Yeah. Again, one of the things that you're going to have a business decision to make in 26 is the following. Again, you've built your business reputation, continuous marketing, concierge service, all of that. I don't know what your business is, but based on our conversations, I'm going to guess it's 80% listing, 20% buyer. Just guessing. What I think you're going to be able to do in 26 is you might be able to hire a buyer's agent. Right? Because again, if I'm really talking about less competition, you're going to not only be able to dominate what you're good at now, you could theoretically add another leg to the stool and just dominate even more. Now, I don't know if you want to increase overhead, because there's overhead with that, but I think that's going to be a legit business decision you'll make in January. Am I good where I'm at, or do I want to try to add one buyer's agent?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do have 2 other agents on my team that do. So I won't get into all, but they support me, but then they also work with buyers as well.
Yep.
But you're right. There's a whole buyer side that there's opportunity there. And then I've been finding, like, what's really working for me in real estate, we call it farming, is working really great for me. I've been doing it for 10 years. Every month it goes
consistent out.
Yeah. And the brand awareness is extremely high and good. I put a lot of effort into that, time and money expense. And
Yep.
And I actually just cranked it up a bit because there's certain markets that I thought were oversaturated in my little area that I thought I'm not going to touch that area. There's too many people already there. But then I've seen that, doesn't seem to be as much, and their marketing is not happening. And so like, I'm going to move a little more, increase a little more in those areas. Like, let's add more to those areas. Let's pour a little more gasoline on there.
That's what I'm talking about.
This
is what a Vegas buffet is like.
Yeah.
I can have crab legs too, and sushi and filet mignon. Let's go.
Yeah.
Coming.
So it's exciting, so I'm feeling, again, like just seeing my pipeline has just been really growing, which is great. And I think, really honestly, any agent that's willing to put that work in and do the things will get the results, so there's plenty to share out there. But I'm happy to see my market share increase, because I think that's the longevity in the business, is becoming that one, and hopefully being the person that people come to if they have these questions, like, what does this tariff news mean for me? And can I still sell my house? And what is it worth right now? And what do we need to do differently? Or do we need to do anything differently? Or if I'm a buyer, what do I offer right now?
I love it.
And I think when you're the people that are in it, if you're a buyer looking right now, we find that person in your market who really knows. If they're selling a lot of volume, they're going to know what's happening on the street, so to speak. Like, here's the offers that are being written today, and here's what's included in those, and here's where I think the opportunity is, and where you can save some money and get a better deal right now. So I always try to look at the opportunities, because every market has opportunities. And I know that we've talked a lot about this on this channel, that if things happen where, say, all of a sudden gets easier, like say the rates go down, there's a reason why those rates went down. And that reason why will be the reason why this time people aren't buying. Dion likes to rattle off 15 different reasons that come every 6 months or so. This is this reason, so think about that. But, there's always going to be that reason. But then looking at the overall long-term goal, keep your eye on the prize and get better deals. If you have opportunity to get better deals, go get them.
Yeah. At the end of the day, 2025 will go down as the year of the real estate investor, the ones that do the work and all of that. 2026, 27 is going to be the year of the real estate agent, the mortgage broker who stuck it out, who went through 4 horrible years. But trust me, it is going to feel like a Vegas buffet, and you will deserve it. You will have earned it. You will celebrate. I will celebrate you, because 4 years of a real estate depression, which is what we've been in, is hard. It's stressful.
Yeah,
it
has been very stressful. And for all of us in this industry, it's been just ruthless.
You know what the real good news is, Beth?
Yeah.
You're 8 months away from 2025 or 26. It's almost here. It's right around the corner.
It's just coasting. And in the meantime, if it's a little tougher to do deals, well, that's all right. We learn, we adapt. We've been here before. People are always going to be buying and selling. Even in the depths of 2008, 9, 10, there were houses being sold.
Absolutely.
And think about the people that were buying back then. If you could buy back then, again, would you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'd buy more. I'd find a way to buy more.
I know. Yeah. So I like how you're thinking too about, like, where's the opportunity here? And a lot of people in our investment circles up here in Washington are all looking at, like, oh, great, this is a good opportunity for us to finding some new ways to expand business. So
well, Beth, you are amazing. You're a top 1% agent for a reason. You're going to be the top 1% here in 26. That much I know. If somebody wanted to buy or sell in King County, or better yet, get a referral to another top 1% agent, what do they do?
Yeah, so they can reach out to me through BethTraversogroup.com. They can just do the contact me, and I'm also easy. You Google me, and I'm everywhere out there. So
and
she's connecting with folks for the one rental at a time. Sorry.
I was just saying you're inside school, so they can tag you there as well.
School too. Yep, absolutely.
There you go. Thanks, Beth.
Thank you.